Welcome to Vegas Live with Ninon. I'm Ninon, your host, and I have next to me James Kelly. Now, James Kelly actually owns Quirky Minds Media, and he's given us this studio. James, you are a real trooper because, things have definitely changed. I always film out of the Peppermill. This is not the Peppermill, obviously. But you've come along, you've given us your studio and everything. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we can continue doing what we're doing. But it's become a sort of a double-edged sword, hasn't it? It's now you've met some people, through our guests. And also you met people that saw you or saw the interview.
On Facebook, or on Instagram.
And they called you up and...
Yeah, want to know what we do here.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is good. So it's funny how things work out.
Works for me.
It definitely works for me too, because I've got my show and then you get more customers.
Right.
Has this COVID-19, how much has this affected you? Has it?
Well, it really hasn't, because we're a small production company.
Yes.
And even when we've done small productions here, which your production manager has done with us here, we only have a few people in at a time. We don't have a huge crew. So it hasn't really affected us.
Isn't that easier to manage anyway? Because it's all yours.
Yes.
And then you can manage the whole thing. You haven't got to worry about this, that, and the other.
Right.
And employing all these people.
Yeah, we don't have any employees.
No.
Because we just rent out the space or whatever we need to do, and then they do their productions and, the smaller productions. And
so anybody out there who needs a production, a small production, or however, how they get in touch with you. And then how big a production can you do here? Because this is, you've got space here.
Well, really this is just geared toward the small independent productions. Like they've rented this out for office space. Mainly they do it for office space scenes. Like we had this turned into a police precinct for one. Actually, for a couple independent films, we've turned it into a police precinct.
Fabulous.
Yes. We have had photographers come in and use the green screen area for photography.
Yeah, because they have a lovely green screen area, which you don't see because it's a green screen. So
right, so what you see in the background,
it's this mystic thing that happens. You're sitting in front of this green background and it turns into some beautiful picture that you choose.
Exactly.
Whatever you want.
Yes.
Now, James has many talents. He's also, there's quite a few things going on here. Now, you also have podcasts.
Yes.
Right. So what are these? Because I always want to do a podcast, so I want to find out what's going on.
Talk to me about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually have aspects of writing, which has been my show for 8.5 years.
Yes.
And I interview authors or writers, script writers, whatever. And then we also have senior aspects, which deals with all the aspects of senior issues. And then I have the common thread, which deals with bigotry, prejudices on a worldwide scale, not just...
The common thread.
The common thread.
So you make it a common thread.
Right. I find that when you talk to people, we think there's a lot of differences, and there are differences in all of us.
We're basically all the same.
But there's a lot of commonality in all of us,
yes.
all over the world.
We just have different opinions, and it's funny you should say that, because my thought has always been we are exactly the same all over the world. We may speak different languages, we may be a different colour, we may be different sizes, we may be having different things, but basically the whole world is human, exactly the same. We're all the same.
Exactly.
We've all got the same organs and the same different things about our body, some smaller, some, they're different, but basically
we are the same.
We're all
There's
the same.
a lot of, even in our mindset, the way we think about other people is really the same. We all want to be kind.
You mean we all don't like them?
Well, I was going to say the opposite of that,
No, I happen to be a people liker.
Yeah,
I'm a people liker. I like people, and I like to find out, because I've always said this, that just because I don't get on with somebody doesn't mean to say that they're bad.
Right.
It doesn't mean to say I'm bad. It's just that they're different and I'm different. We just don't get on.
Different of opinions.
Different opinions and different ways of thinking and everything else. And that's all it really is. So basically, your podcast is doing very well. So you've got, 3 or 4 of them?
I have 3, and then we have other people who are coming in to do their podcasts starting, in 2021.
Yeah.
And, it's a variation of different. Like I have a sportscaster coming in, doing his own sports show. I have someone who's she has a show called Hidden Disabilities, which will be talking about...
that's interesting.
Yeah, because, someone may have an illness and you're not even aware of it on camera. I mean, there's an example of an actor who just finished up Black Panther, who just recently died of cancer, and he was filming that during his cancer.
Wait a second, the Black Panther?
Yeah, it was a movie, The Black Panther.
Not the Black Panther group?
No. Okay. This is a movie, a Marvel's movie.
A Marvel's movie?
Yeah. It's
Black Panthers. And really?
Yes, and people didn't even realize he was sick.
Did he know he was sick?
He did know. But there again, unless you tell someone it's a hidden disability, you don't realize.
Well, sometimes you don't want to tell people if
You
you've got
don't want
stuff,
to,
you know.
right.
You want to be free and you want to be full and you want to be perfect,
Right.
you know.
And I have a friend who has muscular dystrophy, but you wouldn't know that
Oh,
because
wow.
she's not that ill yet.
Ill yet.
And, you wouldn't know it unless she
wouldn't
told
know
you.
unless you.
So
yes.
there's a lot of hidden disabilities we're not even aware of.
I mean, you could also have cancer. People aren't. You're not going to
Wouldn't
turn
know.
around and tell the whole world you've got cancer.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of illnesses. And
So
you're
I
right.
think that's going to be an interesting show.
I think it'll be a fascinating
Yeah.
show because you're going to start looking at yourself as something a little bit different.
Yeah.
While she explains what it, or however she's going to explain it, which I have no idea, neither do you, except what she has her idea. But that's made a subject.
Well, then we have another show called A Million and One Things that's going to be coming on. And they're
Oh, I
just going
like
to talk
that.
about anything and everything.
And when these podcasts, we put them together, are other people coming in to talk with them, or are they just doing the podcast by themselves?
No, like with my show, I usually have 1 to 2 guests on.
Okay.
Um,
Do they come into the studio, or do they
Come into
in?
both.
Both.
Sometimes we do, like I've interviewed people from Spain or Helsinki.
So
Or,
they come in-
Yeah, Australia. Quite a few people from Australia. So I have them on a monitor because we also videotape our show.
Okay.
And we have them on monitor and do the interview that way.
That way, so you can have them well, especially now, everything's Zoom and everything sort of, you could do anything you want, or you can actually bring the whole world into one place,
Yes.
which is actually the COVID epidemic has exactly done the same thing, because they actually went to every country all over the world.
Yes,
so
yeah.
none of us can complain and say, well, it's only in America, because it's not, it's all over the world.
Right.
And it's having different reactions in different states and different reactions in different countries, but it's basically all this. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it
when you
is.
get an illness and it travels through the whole world, and and they've all got the same thing.
Mm-hmm. I
They've
know.
all got
It is amazing.
It is amazing. When you really think about it, they've all got, in different degrees, some people have got the headaches and some people can't breathe and some people this. But it's still the COVID-19. So it's sort of, but it hasn't really affected you. So that's one cool thing.
Well, yeah, because we're kind of careful here. Like
Yeah.
I said, it's limited to the number of people that can really come in. And
Yeah.
most people are pretty good about wearing their mask when they come in and that type of thing.
And
So-
until they understand the
they
setup and what's
understand,
going on and
yeah.
what's happening
Yeah.
and everything else.
Yeah.
So this hasn't really, if you could give any advice as of this day and age, what we're going through with the COVID-19, what would you advise people to sort of, how to sort of handle it?
You meet people every day with different opinions on COVID-19.
Well, you do, because you're,
Right.
you're a podcast.
I think you should do something. If you really are afraid of it, then you definitely need to be
Stay
cautious
home.
and stay home, and avoid as many people as you possibly can. Wear a mask. If you are uncomfortable around someone who you think is willy-nilly about it, doesn't believe it exists, then you may want to be a little more
Away,
cautious
yes.
around that person.
Yeah.
But it's every individual is different, and I don't believe that we should dictate to someone what we should be doing or shouldn't be doing necessarily. You definitely need to give them the warning signs, let them know what's out there,
Yes.
and then
Or also what you do, what
Right.
you would like in your studio. I'd like you
Right.
to come in with a mask and then,
Right.
do your show, and we'll understand, and we'll make it as clean and nice
Right.
as possible and comfortable for you. So then therefore you don't think much of all these governors of all these states, of their dictating to everybody and they change their minds willy-nilly.
But I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it must be a terrible
'Cause they
place.
can't
But whatever
win.
they say, I was going to say,
Right.
whatever they say and whatever they do is going to be wrong.
Right.
I mean, I haven't heard anybody say,
Right,
well,
they
this
will
is
be wrong.
great. I haven't heard anybody say, oh, what the governor did is great. I haven't heard that yet.
Yeah,
So
I know.
It's not that I feel sorry for them, because I think some of them are sort of overreacting and doing,
Yeah, yeah.
like New York. Everyone's moving out of New York.
Yeah.
But don't worry, they'll all move back again. So
Yeah, yeah.
there's no big
I mean,
deal.
this is going to pass.
Of course it is. Oh,
When
yeah.
we don't know, but
No.
it will pass.
And we're coming up to 2021. We're coming up to a new presidency. We're coming up to all new stuff, which we won't go into because I don't like to talk politics, because
Right, I don't either.
it gets a little messy in there. It's like talking religion.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't like to talk religion or politics, especially on my
When
show
you're-
for sure.
I know, when we're when you and I, when we're in entertainment business and we're
Yeah,
talking,
yeah.
we're hosting and
Yeah.
everything else, these are the things we kind of avoid
Right,
as
right.
possible.
Yeah.
How can anybody reach you to get you to
Well,
use
they
your
can reach
studio?
us online at quirkymindsmedia.com. We also have a website called sharedspacetocreate.com.
Great.
And then my show is aspectsofwriting.com.
Yeah, where was your book? So you didn't bring any of your books out?
Well, I have a few. I'll bring them out next show.
Next time. Next time.
But I am an author as well.
But you are an author. But also you teach how to publish.
Yes.
And I was saying, because I sort of write sort of poems and different things, and I said, I would like to I've got the idea in my mind what I want,
Yes.
so now I should talk to you about this and see how I can proceed with it. So
They can go to Shared Space to Create, and I list the seminars when we're doing seminars. It'll be listed there how they can sign up for a seminar.
Okay.
And I actually wrote a book called A Simple Guide to Writing and Publishing.
Oh, how wonderful. Because
So-
everybody wants to do that, and I think that's more now than it's ever been. I mean, publishers have really gone out now because there's so many people and so many ways that you can publish your own book and do your own thing. And, because even if you go to a publisher, you really don't want them to change anything anyway, because you want it
Right.
written like how you have it. So
Right.
you might as well do it yourself.
Right. Well, there's a million new titles published every year, so
Yeah.
it's a fierce competition there when it comes to getting your work out there.
Well,
and
when
get
you
it
see so
recognized.
many books in the
Yeah.
world, there's thousands of books out there, and I often think, do people still read? But now
They do.
They do. Do they? Do people still actually read a regular book?
You always will have the audience who want that book in their hands.
Yeah.
That's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And then I try to generate a new generation of readers with my children's books
Oh, yeah,
to get
children's
the
books.
kids the books in the kids' heads. Because there's nothing like turning a page and being able to flip back and forth.
Yes.
And you can do that on an ebook reader, but it's just not the same.
So what made you go into children's books? I love that because I do with children as well.
I wrote my first children's book in 2000, I think it was. I don't know. I just always wanted to get a message out there that I think that the world's changing all the time, and I always try to write something that's going to teach children something.
Positive,
Yeah,
something
positive.
I think something positive. I think we need to make children feel great and look great. There's a lot of negative stuff out there with parents that are not they're really putting their children down, or don't call your child ever stupid, because children are not stupid. And a lot of people do.
And my latest book is about using your imagination, like letting the children. It's okay if they don't call something the right word or describe it the right way. When they're younger, let them use their imagination.
Yes,
you
yeah,
know.
let them.
They're going
feel
to
it,
grow
feel
up
it.
and learn all the.
Of course they're going to.
Yeah.
But let them feel it the way they
Right.
feel it at that time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you don't want to embarrass children.
No.
And I think correcting children when they say something, sometimes you couldn't correct them because you're the teacher.
Right.
But at the same time, sometimes just let it go.
Right.
Let it be free.
And that's
Absolutely.
what that book is about. It's called The Red Soaks instead of The Red Socks.
I like
So,
that.
yeah, because he steps
And
in
where
water.
can they buy that?
They can buy that on Amazon.com,
Amazon.com.
or I also have my own website called 1millionbooksin100days.com.
Okay.
That's 1millionbooksin100days.com. You can either spell it out or use the number 1 and the number 100. And that is for independent authors, actually. I created that site to bring emphasis to the independent writers.
There's more independent writers now than there's ever been, isn't there?
Yeah.
Everybody.
That's actually the main market right
I think the internet and all this stuff has given people a lot of freedom, because you can actually be at home. You don't have to sort of present yourself to anybody or anything. You can actually create your own thing with your computer, and you can mess up, but you can correct it.
Exactly.
And you will not be embarrassed by things that we all do. We all do embarrassing things to ourselves,
Right.
Writing the wrong things or doing the wrong things,
Right.
or whatever the case may be. But now you don't have to be embarrassed.
Well, and you know what? If you have that
learn.
desire to write and you can't find a traditional publisher, even if you're just doing it for family and friends, you can go out there and publish it on your own. You don't
Absolutely.
need a traditional publisher. And you never know when someone's going to discover what you wrote.
That's right. Yeah,
So,
there you go. Well,
yeah.
it's a pleasure. It's amazing to be able to talk to James Kelly.
well,
he's
we love
just-
having you here.
Oh, isn't
So,
it?
yeah.
I love it. See, I got a home. I'm back home again. I
Yes.
love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's absolutely amazing because this town's very hard. A lot of stuff is closed down, and then they've all these restrictions and everything else. Here, it's just us, and it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And thank you very,
It's
very
odd
much.
being on this end of the interviews.
Yeah,
but
yeah. He's on the other end. Usually
it's
he's
a lot more nerve-wracking.
because he doesn't know what I'm going to ask him.
I know.
But I've been pretty cool. I've
Yeah.
been okay. But thank you so much.
Thank
This has
you.
been Vegas Live with Ninon, absolutely our location here. And thank you for James Kelly for giving that our opportunities that we can continue doing our shows and everything. Don't forget to go to YouTube and subscribe, and stay well out there. Don't think too much about this COVID-19. Keep on with your life, and don't get too paranoid, because as you said, James, it will pass, and it will pass. It's just give it a little time. Keep up the momentum. Keep up your life. Keep moving forward. Take care. Vegas Live with Ninon. If you enjoyed the last show we just did and all the other shows, don't forget to subscribe. Vegas Live with Ninon on YouTube. We've got plenty more coming up, and our guests are amazing. So don't forget to subscribe. We'll be right back. Vegas Live with Ninon.